Hello and welcome to a nostalgia playthrough of Close Combat 3 Cars of Iron Edition. Now the original game of this was released in 1996 if I'm not mistaken, and before I say anything else I would like to say that if you want to play this game, I would not recommend that you buy it off Steam where it is now available, unless you want the Steam functionalities with the game, with the community and the forum and whatnot. As if you buy it on GOG.com, you can probably get it, if you're lucky, at 1/10 of the price that it is out for at Steam. The same goes for pretty much every close combat game. There's also a pack with the first 5, I believe, or something on GOG. If not, I mean, they're way cheaper on GOG. So I would suggest you look that up. Now, you could call me a seasoned veteran of the close combat games. I have played every close combat game to be released, and out of all the games, this is for me the epitome of them. This is the one that I like the most. They did more right in this game than they did in any other of the close combat games. Sure, the graphics are better in the newer ones, but yeah, I'll get to why I prefer this game over the other ones. I'm gonna try not to talk too much, but I do want in this first episode here to give you a little bit of an explanation of a few things about the game. It can be maybe a bit tedious, but I want to cover them, and then in the coming episodes there will not be very much of that. Now, we're going to go through the options. Well, first, we're going to play the Grand Campaign, which has a total of 16 operations. Each operations has several maps in it. The first operation has 3 maps in it. You don't need to necessarily win every map on, like, the first time you play it. You can go for it through. There's a time limit on each operation, how many days you can use. So you just have to win it without exceeding that time limit. You don't actually have to win. You can lose them and you can still keep playing the operation, but you're going to be a little bit worse off if you don't win it, though. Either way, we're going to go to option settings real quick. Now, we have the status indicators. The team info bar display is a bar above the various teams, tanks, etc. I've set mine to show health. You do have quite a few options, but I prefer show health, so I can just at a quick glance see what teams are in good condition and what teams aren't. Soldier outline display I've set to show cover, so that I can also at a quick glance see how well covered my units are. The other information for me isn't as important on the go as these are. Now you have these information monitors. I'm displaying team data, inset map, and soldier monitor. Basically all of it that I can. As information is good. And I'm going to be playing it with the Russian-speaking Russian and the German-speaking German. I don't speak Russian myself, but I have learned what a few of the phrases in this game means. I do speak to some degree German, but I'm in no means extremely good at it. I can make myself understood and understand German, but with some limitations. Either way, I would like to say that I started playing Close Combat 2 is my first experience with this franchise, and I played the Close Combat 2 demo first at a friend's place on a Pentium 2 when I was like 8 years old. It had fairly recently been released, and he explained it to me at school, and I was like, wow, that sounds amazing, I want to try it. And I tried it, and I was right, it was amazing. I've certainly put more hours into this game than you really should. I used to in my teens play a bit on the internet, a few of the close combat games. Well, yeah, on GameSpy Arcade, if anyone can recall that thing. Either way, not going to get too much into these things, and I will try to brush through a few things, but not go too deep into absolutely every aspect of it. Now, I've called my commander Waldo here, because why not? We're going to be playing through with the Germans, and once I'm finished with the German playthrough here, we're going to go for the Russian playthrough. I've set up the battle end criteria for 30 minutes, so we have a maximum of 30 minutes to complete and win the maps. If we can't, then we have to try again. And the reason for this is that there might be situations where theoretically the game could go on for eternity. And I want to avoid those situations. It wouldn't really be good for YouTube to have a 73-day long episode. And also, after taking all victory locations, there will be a 2-minute warning to the side that has no victory locations, in which it needs to get a victory location anywhere on the map, or it will lose. This is true for the enemy, and it is true for me. Difficulty rating, we are going with hero. As a hero, your side is initially weaker, and when playing a campaign, has fewer resources. Realism rating, we're also going with 100%. You can flick on a few things here, like always see the enemy. That kind of negates the point of scouting, and it just, for me, that's no fun. Never act on initiative. This can be good to flick on as well, as an example that we'll probably be seeing as I play through is, for instance, if you have stationed a machine gun team to cover a flank, and there's nothing happening there, but you want them to cover that flank still, in case the enemy tries to flank around. After 10-15 minutes of nothing going on, they might lose patience and just start wandering off towards the actual combat zone, which can be bad. And usually I notice that they do this when I'm busy fighting and kind of micromanaging a combat situation, and then I go back and like, oh, my MG team has moved halfway across the map. That's inconvenient. So yeah, I don't know. You can always have full enemy info, meaning that you can always see how much ammo they have and what their team morale is, and etc, etc. And you have always obey orders, which can be very handy if you need something to happen. Then it will be done. But this can also lead to massive casualties if you don't really know what you're doing. As an example, let's say there's an MG42 spraying down and suppressing your squad, and then you say, attack that MG42, rush it. They're not going to do that. Would you want to do that? Just run through the bullets and get to that MG? No, you wouldn't want to do that. Neither does your soldiers. When they made this game, they cooperated with military psychologists, etc., professionals in various fields, to get the soldiers in the game to act as realistic as possible. Now, your soldiers can get scared, they can run away, they can flee, they can cower, they can go insane basically and just charge at the enemy and throw grenades like a freaking madman. There's a lot of things that can happen. So like, psychology is a part of the game that you not necessarily need to worry that much about, but it is a part of the game, and if you can understand and master the psychology aspect of the game as well, it will give you a little bit of an edge. Now, I'm not saying that I master it, but yeah, there will be limitations to what certain soldiers can do, but we'll get to that when we get to that. With that being said, I guess we've covered most of it, so let's get into the next screen. We're going to call it GG1, the save file here. And this screen is a good example for why I like this close combat game more than any other close combat game. It's because you have an active roster where you build up, upgrade, replace, and otherwise do whatever the heck you want with your force from mission to mission throughout the campaign. So you can kinda, if you can keep soldiers alive, they will gain experience, they will get better, they'll get better morale, and you can upgrade them, you can upgrade your squads, and it's quite interesting. I like this. You get more personalized with your squads than in the newer close combat games. I just don't like how they're doing it. After like maybe the 5th close combat game, I think like they've really gone the wrong way on how you do with the squad management, and I just I really don't like it anymore. It's the way they've chosen to go. It's but yeah, that's my opinion, and whatever. We're moving on here to requisition points, which if you play on an easier difficulty, you will have a lot more of these available. But these are what you spend to buy various troops, etc. You have the force pool here, which is where you can hire, purchase, recruit troops and armor from. You have conscript, regular and elite level units. You have command, infantry, armor and support to choose from. And every time you start the game, and between every mission, you will get into this, and every time it will be RNG. It'll be completely random what you can actually purchase, which leads to a bit of different playthroughs, a little bit of extra replayability. Can also lead to you getting shafted a bit if you don't get anything good, but you know, then you have to play around with it. So, what I'm seeing here is that we have access to a medium assault gun, a Stug 3 Ausf C. Or as the Germans would say, or probably the Germans wouldn't say this, because this is just a Norwegian trying to say this in German, but Sturmgeschütz 3 Ausfahrung C. That's basically assault gun 3 edition C. That's not completely correct, but for now it'll just have to be close enough. So we can see here. Let's see if we can refit our commander with something. Yeah, we can. You can refit, you can rest, you can rename, and you can retire. Funny that they chose an R for all these. In fact, the first two letters of all these bars here have the first two letters of my name. Actually, never noticed that before now. But yeah, we can get a Panzer II for the commander. And if you click on details here, as you can see, you will see the equipment that will come with the team, and you can click around on it, see how it sounds. If there's more than 6 things in the squad, the 7th, the 8th, the 9th, they won't show up here, unfortunately. That's just a limitation of the game, and you have this info panel here, which will give you a short description of what the things will do. So, commanders provide leadership on the battlefield. This tank makes commanders more visible, but enables them to move without becoming fatigued. The Mark II has a 20mm main gun and light armor, so this wasn't really the best example of this. If we go into the armor here. Use this turretless assault gun, so here's specifically saying how to use it. Use this turretless assault gun against all targets. Though Mark III chassis provides good mobility and sturdy armor. Tough Mark III chassis provides good mobility and sturdy armor. My bad. No turret means the Stug 3 must turn to swing his 75mm main gun more than 10 degrees. Now, I played through this game a few times, so I know what's going to be coming up in the future. And I know that we would want to have this gun, or this tank here, in our roster. As it will be able to defeat some of the more sturdy Soviet tanks that we'll be running into in the second operation. Depending on what RNG the AI gets, because the AI will also be dealing with RNG and what it can hire. So if you're unlucky, you could run into KV2s extremely soon, and well, they just absolutely destroy stuff. If they hit, they usually have low morale, but and experience. But yeah, so this thing, it has no machine gun. It only has the assault gun. The 7.5cm L24. Now, the 24 here, the L24, it means basically the 7.5, the size of the shell, times this will be the length of the cannon. Now, a longer cannon, relative to its caliber, will have more penetration capabilities, as you know, shells build up more speed when they leave a longer gun. I'm not 100% on the physics there, but something like that. So, yeah. We're gonna get this. It's not ideal to have initially due to it being, well, only having high explosive cannon. But it is quite survivable, at least in the first few missions. So, we're taking this primarily because I want to have it for later. And other than that, let's see what else we can get. There's a plethora of units in this game. Some of which, like half-tracks for instance, however, I find to be not really that useful, and I never used them. I wish I could, I wish I would be using them, but I don't, because there's just better options to go for. If you want to be a little bit conservative with your acquisition points. So the Stug 3 is not the ideal choice for for the mission that we're going into here, but it will hopefully do. Now we're gonna upgrade the platoon leader from a 2-man team with MP40s to... now you have the option of 2 here, the pre-war or the early war variety. Personally, I prefer the pre-war. Now, it has rifle grenades, the early war team has rifle grenades, and the pre-war doesn't. But what the pre-war team does is have 2 Carabiner 98K Mauser rifles and 1 submachine gun. The other one will have 2 submachine guns and a rifle. And the distances we'll be fighting at early on here, I find the rifles are more useful. But we do have 28 points, meaning that unfortunately we are not getting the best stuff. We're not getting all the stuff that we want. I'm just looking around to see what we can actually get. Now there is this Ersatztrupp, which basically means replacement troops. For some reason it's called reserve infantry in this game. That isn't a direct translation, but whatever. But as you can see, the moral is likely to run, experience, no training. So if you bring these, you better glue them to your platoon leader. Otherwise, they are likely to run away and flee the battlefield. But yeah, we're going for the pre-war command team here, since I do want to have the extra little bit of range capabilities. And if I'm looking through what we have here, how many points do we have left? So if we spent 15 points, we would then have 11 points left. Huh. Yeah, so we have different teams, so like machine gun teams, rifle teams, and I think we'll just get a machine gun team. Actually, we'll get the, no, hang on a second. So I need to do a little bit of math. So if we say put in a couple of these for 12, then we would have 14 left. Okay, can I undo the refitting here? God damn it. Well, so I shouldn't have done that, but oh well, it is what it is. Let's see here then. Okay, we'll take this machine gun team. Now the requisition points, they overflow to the next mission. Like, so if you don't spend all, the ones that you didn't spend, you will get on the next mission. However, when you move on to the next operation, it will reset and you will start with a new requisition point pool. So if you're on the last mission, make sure you spend all your points. And you can also cheese it a bit. If you know, like, there's gonna be more time to fight on the map, and you know you're gonna win, you can push the enemy into a corner and ask for a truce and kind of go on for the next battle. You can start by having them surrounded, and since you already gained control of the map and then went for the truce, and between battles you can use your requisition points to supply your troops with more stuff and upgrade them and maybe add more tanks, etc. Meanwhile, you start the game off by just surrounding and annihilating your enemy every single time. It's cheesy, we're not going to do that, but you can do that. It is a way to do it, but not a way that we will be doing it. So we're going to get this machine gun team, and I think we just get a rifle team. This is not an ideal setup here. We got MG34 on this machine gun team, and we got this reserve infantry here, which we're going to have sticking with the group leader. That will hopefully do well when they're linked up with the commander. So we have 2 requisition points left. We can't use them on anything. And so we're going to move in to deployment phase. Now, in this bright area here is where we can deploy our troops. This dark area, which is a lot larger since we are attacking and they already have control of the area, is where the enemy can deploy. This in-between grey tone thing here is where no one can deploy. Now, I played this map a few times before, and actually, if you do it right, if you're patient, and you have a tank that actually has some machine guns on it, you can basically win this map with the machine gun alone. But there is going to be infantry with anti-tank capability. There might even be anti-tank guns, although it is rare on this map. Usually around this area here, you will see anti-infantry teams hiding in the field to ambush your tanks. And they can take your tanks out with just their anti-tank rifles, so it is something to keep in mind. I've been cocky a few times and then like had a well-placed anti-tank rifle hit the tank in the side and just boom, there goes 3 crew members and the remaining ones are just wheeling. So as you can see here, on the cover, the outline. These guys have a green outline, they're in good cover. These guys have yellow outline, they're in okay cover. These guys have red, they're in terrible cover. And then you can have black, which is just absolutely no cover. So, I'm gonna go through a few more things, and in the coming episodes I won't be doing so much of that. Now, you got the ability to move fast, sneak, fire, smoke, defend, and ambush. You can also hold shift to waypoint the movement around the map. This is specifically and particularly useful if you have a tank that's facing the enemy, but you need it to move away, but you also need it to keep facing the enemy while it does that so it won't get destroyed. Now if you just click behind it like this, it's going to turn around and start moving that way. But if you waypoint it like this, it's gonna, since the next waypoint or the next move point is so close behind it, it will just reverse to get to it. So if you do it this way, you can have the unit reverse. This is actually quite useful when you're using tanks and such. Because they are... I mean, tanks are strong, but you can destroy them, and particularly if you shoot them in any place that isn't their front armor with something that has anti-tank capabilities. The thing is, pretty much every time you play, the AI tends to bring at least one mortar crew, which is a little bit annoying. Personally, I rarely use mortar crews, and when I do, it's like high caliber ones. You can suppress, you can this, you can that. I find I would rather have another decent infantry squad that can do some damage and be up in their face, the enemy's face and whatnot, than have a mortar team. That's just me, and I completely understand why people would want to have mortar teams. They can be insanely annoying to deal with, as they're just going to sit on the back of the map and shoot until they're out of ammo. Typically, the enemy will place the mortar teams behind hills. We can also place them more to the front line where they actually see what they're shooting at, increasing the chance they will hit their targets. Now, when you go for fire, you can see here the effective firing range of the weapons that are being used. Now the number is green, so it's an effective firing range. Now it becomes yellow, still decent, and then it gets at some point. Okay, well, maybe I shouldn't use the MG as an example for this, because that's just good at all distances, apparently. But if we look at this, this guy has an MP40, so it goes, this isn't even green at, like, any point, but it goes from yellow to red to black. And black is extremely inefficient range. But yeah, I should probably just start the game here now, so let's get back to these things later. So defend, for instance, that means they will take on and shoot anything that they can see that is somewhat reasonable that they can actually do something to. Ambush means they will wait until the enemy is within reasonable range that they can most likely just hit most of the shots. So they won't give away their position by shooting too easily. Now what we're going to do, since there might be infantry all over this place here that could take out our tanks, we're going to move the tank in, see what's up, and then we're going to start moving our infantry in once it's in position over here, so it can maybe cover down towards this hill should any enemy infantry be there. And also, I would like to have this tank with machine gun support, so that should anyone want to rush this tank, because enemy infantry can do that. Even if they don't have the best anti-tank capability, if infantry gets too close, they can do a lot of damage with grenades, satchel charges, etc. They can, for instance, immobilize your tank. That they can very easily do if they're up close, and then you just can't move it around anymore for the rest of the battle, and you need to spend requisition points to repair it. Now, we haven't spotted any enemies yet, so we're just going to move these two teams here in a little bit. Move the group leader over here, and let's stick the reserve infantry pretty close into these foxholes here. Or trenches, or whatever you want to call them. And I think we'll move a little bit further with this guy. if there was Russians on these hills, they probably would have started shooting already. Usually the enemy deploys across the river. Not always, but usually. And usually, as I've said already, in this area there tends to be a lot of anti-tank units. Or well, anti-tank infantry with anti-tank rifles, which aren't the best, granted, but they can cause some damage still. They can take out your tanks, so don't think that they can. Right, so these guys, they're pushing over here. Maybe they want to try to attack my infantry, I'm not sure. Sorry, my tank. I was thinking about something else, so my bad. And there we go. They've been spotted, and now the mortars are on them. So we're just gonna sneak back down from this hill, and hopefully not get spotted. But since the mortar is firing there, we can move in the heavy machine gun team here, so we have shots on the infantry across the river. Oh, and now they stop shooting over here. Okay, so what we're gonna do is actually attract more fire on these guys, and we're gonna run across here. Yeah, so this guy is kind of covering as they move in here. Not super good, and as you can see, he's missing a lot of his shots. He's shooting pretty low. Okay, I think we can move these guys into here. The MG team has spotted an enemy. Hopefully they can make it to this building safely, and from there they can start making some short passes of, for instance, this reserve infantry here. For some reason the mortar isn't shooting, so you can see the reserve infantry health, right? Like, it's low. It's because the morale is low, their experience is low. And they just lost a point of morale, as I said there. And now we're getting the MG team in position over here. You can zoom in more if you want also. We'll get a little bit of close-up. There's fairly detailed models of the tanks and whatnot. Historically accurate and everything, which I find to be quite nice. And there we go, we have the machine gun team in position. And they're now letting loose on the enemy. You can also zoom out to a more strategic level view. And there we go, we are ripping these guys apart. So the MG team is doing good work. I think we'll move the tank in a little bit more. Maybe we can bait out some... See, for instance, these anti-tank rifle units here, or these two soldiers here with anti-tank rifles, or one of them having an anti-tank rifle. If he dies, though, the other guy immediately gets it. But, yeah, that's just how it is. We have a dead sniper here, in fact. But they were in ambush, and our tank moving in here would have a harder time seeing them than infantry would. Because from a tank, your visibility will be limited. Okay, we're gonna put these guys in the fend. They are apparently shooting at something, so we're not gonna push any further just yet. Oh, maybe we are actually. There is a machine gun down there firing over here. Let's get some smokes out. Like that. Hopefully make it a little bit harder for them. We're gonna roll this tank in the face of that machine gun guy. It is a old machine gun. You can hear it on the cyclical rate there, or the rate of fire. Also a thing I want to say, in this game you can run out of ammo. You can see down here we have 22 high explosive shells left on this Stug 3. That's the ammo for the MG, so we gotta keep an eye on that. When you do run out of ammo, what you can do is scavenge for dead comrades' weapons or dead enemies' weapons. It's a bit inconsistent, but it is what it is. And I like that that's a possibility. So the enemy is now requesting truce. We're moving our command team across this bridge here, covered by the reserve infantry. And the enemy decided to give up. So we took no casualties. We killed 4 enemies, wounded 6, and took 3 prisoners. So I would say a good first battle. There's a lot of stuff here, like 4 strength, opponent casualty, ground you control, la-di-da-di-da. I believe it's... you get some points for this, and when you reach a certain point threshold, you will get a promotion. When you get a promotion, you can bring more units to the battlefield. The enemy will also need to get a promotion. to be able to bring more units to the battlefield. However, if he doesn't get the promotion, and usually when I play he doesn't get the promotion because I just kind of stomp through and win. Not trying to brag or anything, but that's just the case. And in that situation, instead of him trying to fill out his roster and maybe resorting to weaker units, what will happen is that he will spend the requisition points that he has regardless on stronger units, since he can't field as many units. So pluses and minuses with both approaches, I suppose. Now, if we quickly see here, we have the operation screen, which will show statistics for the operation. We have the campaign screen, which will show statistics and information about the campaign and just the battle. And we also have a soldier screen, which here you can see how people got, or what people got better at or worse at. So everyone, most people anyway, gained experience. Apparently not a couple of guys in this infantry here, and not a couple of guys in the command team. And you will also be able to see their health status, etc. They can also lose experience in certain things. Strength, for instance. If someone gets shot, that's going to affect their strength. Either way, yeah, there's several levels of injuries, but we'll probably touch on that in coming episodes. You have the history here. It doesn't really come into play yet, but here will give them like a medal for every finished operation they've been part of. So if a soldier is with you through everything, he's going to have a lot of medals by the end of it. You can check how many kills and other stuff has happened. If someone was a coward, if someone was brave, they will get like a little pat on the back for that. So the command team was apparently brave, and so was the Stug 3 people. You can get more than one of these per guy, per combat, and this is not important, just adds a little bit of, well, if you're a statistical whore like me, then you will like this. I like this. So we can see that the MG team killed 5 soldiers. You can see specifically who did. So the gunner killed 1.5. The loader killed 3. So I suppose the loader took over the gun here then. Not sure about what happened there, but oh well. And some of them got some awards. Waldo, our commander, / me, I suppose, my representation on the battlefield, got a assault badge, and the loader also got a assault badge, and the loader on the machine gun team. And yeah, so let's actually have a quick look at the reserve infantry. So you can see they are terrible compared to the other teams that we have. And they gained a little bit of morale and a little bit of experience, but certainly not a lot. So I apologize for dragging this episode on a little bit. As I said, there was a lot that I did want to cover, and I haven't really even covered all of it. So yeah, there will be a little bit more that I touch on as we play through before I kind of switch over to more focus on just playing the game. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching it so far, and if you want to see more, well, you can catch me in the next episode. I would appreciate it if you would consider liking the video if you did like the video, and maybe even subscribing if you want to see some more content of mine in the future. I do intend to put out more playthroughs of other close combat games as well. I can't tell you when specifically, but they will be out there in the future, so if you want to see that, then, well, the subscribe button is a way to go for that, I suppose. It would help me out getting my channel to grow, and blah blah blah. Yeah, begging, soul-selling spiel over. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. You can catch me in the next one. Have a good one.